Hello chess lovers, Suren here, and I have a very fascinating game for you played between David Bronstein and Mikhail Tal. This game was played in 1968 in Riga. David Bronstein was a Soviet chess grandmaster who narrowly missed becoming world chess champion in 1951. For those who do not know, the match ended in a 12-12 tie, 5 wins each and 14 draws, meaning Botvinnik retained the title of world chess champion. And when it comes to Mikhail Tal, you all know that he was the 8th world chess champion. Both players were creative geniuses and had a sharp attacking style. Now let's see what happened on the board. Bronstein started the game with e4 and e5 by Tal, and here Bronstein went for this hyper-aggressive king's gambit, f4. Look at this, guys. He goes for the sharpest opening against the sharpest attacking player. But instead of accepting the gambited pawn, Tal went for d5. He goes for Falkbeer Countergambit, in which black sacrifices a pawn in return for a quick and easy development. He takes d5, e4, d3, knight f6, d takes e4, knight takes e4, knight f3, bishop c5. Already black wants to deliver some unpleasant checks, that's why white plays queen e2, pinning the knight. And now bishop f2 check can give white advantage because white can play king d1. Right now the knight is hanging, and if f5 then knight d2. Here queen takes d5 loses on the spot because white can play knight c3 and then capture on e4, and then white can win a piece. That's why after knight d2 black should move back the bishop, although white can capture on e4 and then queen takes e4, and in the end of the day again white stands much better. Let's go back. That's why after queen e2 Tal played bishop f5. Now comes knight c3. Already white wants to win a piece. Queen e7 was played, bishop e3, knight takes c3, bishop takes c5, knight takes e2. In return white captured on e7, knight takes f4 and bishop a3. White is still keeping this bishop on this active a3 f8 diagonal, not allowing black to castle kingside. Actually, still it turns out that Bronstein was in his preparations. Here is what he writes. When I was accepting the congratulations of my colleagues on my convincing victory over Tal himself, I did not have the courage to confess my straightforward plagiarism. I shall now hasten to expiate my guilt. You will find all the most important moves of our game right up to an end, including bishop a3 in Tartakover's book. Knight d7 by Tal. Of course, capturing on d5 would have been better, but Tal played knight d7, and after castling queenside, now he will face serious problems. Bishop e4, the bishop is coming to support the knight, knight g5, bishop takes d5, and a very daring decision by Bronstein, g3, he's going for an exchange sacrifice. Actually, rook e1 check followed by c4 looks more solid, but in the game we see g3, an interesting move. Bishop takes h1 was played, g takes f4 and c5. Not a good move. After this move gradually white is managing to gain advantage. It was better to castle queenside and allow knight takes f7, after which actually the position is equal. But in the game after g takes f4 we see c5. Now comes bishop c4. White is intensifying the pressure on f7. Bishop c6, knight takes f7, b5, knight d6 check, and after king e7 white is also winning the pawn on b5. Rook f8, knight d4, using the fact that the pawn on c5 is pinned, bishop g2, knight d6. A very tricky knight all the time. Bronstein is moving his knight. Rook f5, rook g1. Now Bronstein is coming after the pawn on g7, bishop e4, knight c7 first. White is opening up the bishop's diagonal, and after rook d8 we see rook takes g7 check. Actually, instead of playing rook g7 check, b4 is stronger, trying to open up the dark squared bishop's diagonal. If king d6 then knight d6, and in the end of the day actually white is managing to gain a huge advantage. But in the game we see rook takes g7 check. The reason for rook takes g7 check is that after king f6, Bronstein thought that rook f7 leads to a checkmate. Here's what he writes. To be honest, I must reveal a secret here. In my preliminary calculations, I mistakenly supposed that rook f7 was check and mate together and overlooked king g6. King g6 was played by Tal, rook e7, but still white has a huge advantage. Knight e6, rook c8, b3. Bronstein wants to bring his bishop on the long diagonal. Rook h5, knight g5, bishop d5, bishop d3 check, king h6, bishop b2. The knight is under attack, and if you move away your knight, there is always a mating threat. c4, bishop f5. Well, instead of playing bishop f5, b takes c4 is stronger. If b takes c4, then knight f7 check, and then rook takes f7. If rook takes h2, then bishop takes f6. This is going to be winning. But after c4, bishop f5 was played. Right now, two pieces are hanging. But in return, Tal blocked the bishop's diagonal by playing c3. Now comes bishop takes c8, c takes b2 check, king takes b2, rook takes h2, rook takes a7. And now with so many passed pawns, white can easily win the game. Rook f2, rook a4, king g6, black wants to push forward his h-pawn, rook d4. In return, Bronstein is opening up the a-pawn's path, and here we go a4, h4, a5, but black's pawn's path is successfully blocked. Bishop g2, a6, knight h5, bishop b7. The bishop is coming to support white pawn. Knight takes f4, and after this beautiful rook takes f4, Mikhail Tal resigned. If rook takes f4, then white can capture on g2, and then can play a7, and it's over. This is going to be an easy win for white. A very interesting game, I think. All hail to David Bronstein that he dared to go for such a double-edged opening against Mikhail Tal himself and managed to win the game. Thanks for watching. Here are more suggestions for you. For more games, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I will see you in the next video.